So you're a senior now, preparing for that big leap into the job market, but there's this constant nagging worry about whether you'll actually get a job, right?
Exactly. I feel like I've done everything right. Studied hard, prepared well, but there's still this uncertainty. What should I focus on to feel more confident?
That's such a common concern these days. The issue isn't just about getting a job, it's about understanding the bigger picture. You see, young people are facing difficulties because they don't always have the right direction.
What do you mean by the right direction? Isn't the goal just to get hired and earn money?
Well, that's what most people think, but the focus shouldn't be on just securing a paycheck. Instead, think of the transition from school to society as the beginning of a whole new kind of education. It's not just about working, it's about learning from the world around you.
So you're saying we should be looking at our first jobs as learning opportunities rather than income sources?
Exactly. When you graduate, you're done with basic studies, but that doesn't mean you're ready to jump straight into the workforce. In society, the goal should be to study the work environment, understand what you're good at, and grow. You shouldn't be concerned with making a lot of money right away.
That sounds a bit counterintuitive. How can I focus on learning if I'm barely making enough to cover my expenses?
It's a tough balance, I know, but here's the thing. At this stage, you're going to earn around 70% of what you might expect if you were aiming for a higher paying job with better conditions. That might not seem ideal, but it's enough to support your studies and personal growth.
So you're saying we should take jobs that match our skills and interests, even if the salary isn't great?
Yes, absolutely. The key is to approach your job with the mindset of learning. Focus on gaining experience, even if the salary isn't what you imagined. This early stage is crucial because how you learn and grow will shape your future.
But what about those of us who get really caught up in the idea of making more money or achieving career success early on?
That's a dangerous trap. If you're too focused on money, you'll miss out on the real growth opportunities. When you reach your 40s, the hard truth is, if you've only chased money and ignored personal development, your career might stall.
That sounds intense. So the real value in your 20s and 30s is to learn as much as possible?
Yes, think of it as your practical training phase. Whatever you learned in school was just the foundation. Now, your real education comes from applying what you know in the real world through people and experiences.
But it feels so hard to stay focused on that, especially when everyone around you seems to be chasing after better jobs and higher pay.
It's challenging, but that's exactly why you need to learn to focus on your development. When you're in your 30s, you'll have fewer distractions. But you also need to be careful not to get too comfortable. It's important to build your foundation now.
What happens if we don't take this learning phase seriously? You mentioned things get tough in your 40s.
If you don't put in the work in your 20s and 30s, you'll find yourself stuck. You'll have a job, maybe even a position, but without the necessary skills or growth, you'll be out of touch with what's needed in the market. This is why so many people struggle in their 40s.
That's a pretty stark warning. So we're really talking about a long-term approach to career and life, aren't we?
Yes, if you don't put in the effort to learn and grow in your early career, you'll find yourself on a path where it's harder to catch up later. It's about mastering your field and becoming someone society actually needs, not just someone chasing after the next paycheck.
Wow, that really shifts the perspective. So it's not about the job you take, it's about how you approach it, right?
Exactly. The job is just the vehicle for your personal growth. The real question is, are you willing to learn from it? If you are, then you'll have a much clearer path ahead.
And that makes sense for the future, especially as I think about my own life goals. It's not about being comfortable now, but setting myself up for something much bigger later.
Right? And don't forget, your parents will be proud of you when they see you thriving and contributing to society in meaningful ways. That's the kind of legacy you want to build, not one where you're stuck doing meaningless work just to get by.
That's an eye-opener. It really makes you think about how you want your 40s and beyond to look.
Absolutely. Don't waste this time. Focus on learning now, and in the long run, you'll be in a much better position, not just in terms of career, but in life.
Thanks for the advice. I think I've got a much clearer idea now of how to approach this next phase. It's not just about surviving, but growing and thriving.
Exactly. Stay focused on your development, and the rest will follow. But remember, the journey is just as important as the destination.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks again.